I guess my testimony starts when I was about 8 years old. I was growing up in a pretty abusive household. Um, my father was heavily dosed on some drugs, and he would just more or less pick and choose when he wanted to have a fight. My mom worked all the time, so she couldn't be around, and of course, everybody played their part like it was okay, everything's all right. But me and my twin brother, we got the brunt of it, and I don't know. One day, I guess I sat down and hollered out for something to give me some peace or whatever, and turns out I was calling on something I didn't understand, and for better lack of words, a friend showed up and didn't leave for a long time. And then I learned that this thing was attached to me, and I just thought I was crazy, and just everybody said I was crazy. And then more voices came, and at the end of it all, I probably had about 6 or 7, including this entity I could see. And I do say entity because I don't believe it was schizophrenia or anything like that. I believe at this point it was a demon that was pressing my life. About the age of, I'd say about 11, after I'm dealing with my home life issues and my school issues and stuff like that, I started getting into drugs. Drugs and alcohol at that age. And they were readily available. Anywhere I wanted them, I could get them. Not so much at the house, but there's like a network of people that just hand you stuff, it seems. And then I started, along with that, I was getting into world geography and world religions, and I had this thought that, well, everybody's got the same idea, but we're just looking at it wrong. I thought of God as a diamond, and all the religions were just little cuts on that diamond. Well, I was wrong, very wrong. No, they're not serving the same God I'm serving now. Witchcraft, metaphysics, like Aleister Crowley stuff, Anton LaVey, Church of Satan. Got deeper and deeper in this like rabbit hole, and I was just trying to get inner peace, and I could never find it. And I kept trying to think, I kept thinking, if I just build myself up and be more powerful inside, I'll be all right. So that's why I got into like the dark arts, if you will. It's all BS. You don't get anything from it. You just get sorrow and heartache. I never sacrificed anything in that sense with Satanism, because some people really kind of do that. I never really did. I never got into that. Just so you know where level I was at, I guess you'd say. I don't know. I'd say around the age of 20. By then, I was already out of high school, hosting parties like debauchery, hosting, and just all kinds of craziness. And then I met my first wife, and she got pregnant, and I decided, well, okay, I'm a dad, so let's try to clean your act up a little bit. Still not looking up, still seeking all this out here. I was a raging alcoholic. I'd drink about half a gallon of Vladimir triple distilled vodka, and yes, I know it by heart. About a half gallon of that within 2 to 3 days. It's a lot to put down, and I would keep going like that. I still worked. I worked at McDonald's for a long time, and my alcoholism got to the point where I was shaking. Like I couldn't go without a drink. And all this time, these things in my head kept telling me, oh, it's going to make it better. This will make you numb. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. You're doing the right thing. I was doing terrible. I was doing terrible by myself. I was doing terrible by my wife. I was doing terrible by my child. And I'd rather get alcohol than buy diapers at that point. It was bad. So got involved with her church, even though I didn't really want to. Secretly, I was still a Satanist. And I did the youth choir. I did a bunch of plays. I was in the band. Pretty much anything musical or creative that I could get my hands on at that church, I did. And when I actually start to believe, like, oh, maybe there really is something to this, And I already had been married. I already had a kid. And we were about to have our second. And everything seemed to be going good, but I never went up to that altar. Not really. And one day, my first wife, she tells me, hey, I got somebody coming down. They're going to hang out and y'all can play guitar or whatever, blah, blah. Well, it turns out that whole thing was just to find out if my child was mine or not. I still don't know to this day. So that tore me up. She left me to get with this other guy and never got with that guy. She just left me and took the kids. So there I was, empty, alone, and I asked the church for advice, in that particular church. And I'm not saying that all churches do this, but people, you can't put your trust in people because people are fallible. But you can put your trust in God because He's always there and He's always listening. When I went to this particular church that I was a part of for over 2 years, they said it was my fault that I had allowed this into my life and that, and the other. I had no idea about this other guy, to be honest. I really didn't. I had no idea about him. So that made me turn completely away. I was like, I'm done with church. I'm done with people. I will do it myself and keep trotting on. Then I met my second wife, a good period after that. And we had a child as well. We got married. And I had no intentions of going to church at all with her, period. In fact, we went to some pretty wild parties. I'll say that much. And I'm sure that some people know what I'm talking about. I'll say pineapple. I'm not proud of these things that I've done. I'm not. But I have done them, and I've come out of it. That's where we're getting to anyway. So I have a child with her, and I do all these crazy things. I ruin another marriage because I didn't have God in it. There was no foundation. It was just based off of lust. And after that, I was destroyed. Because I knew that ultimately I had destroyed everything in my life. And then I met, well, not then, but I actually had met Melissa, my fiance now, when we plan on getting married very, very soon. I met her, and she was just a friend. And she was a good friend. She didn't care about if I had money. She didn't care if I had good looks. She just knew that I was a broken person and that I needed a friend. So when I was lonely, she'd invite me over to play video games, just be a bro. Just have fun, put a little bit of spirit back in me. Well, over time, we get to learn each other pretty well. And me and my wife had separated long enough to where I felt comfortable till my heart could move on. So me and Melissa start dating. And she's really been a godsend. She's literally been an angel from God sent to me, because I was going to kill myself. Had God not sent her to me, I wouldn't be here. I know He sent her to me because she's my Eve. I'm her Adam. She's my Eve. One day she just out of the blue says, hey, I'm thinking about going to church. I'm like, really? Why? Here I am. I've got this big altar. I've got huge Baphomet statues and skull candles and big pentagram and everything, all in my room, I'm like, really? I have all this, and you want to go to church? And she's like, yeah, things ain't working. This ain't working for me. It's like, okay. So she stews on the idea for a little bit, and then I believe at that point she was asking her coworker about her church, and they're both named Melissa, which I thought was funny. You got my Melissa and Jack's Melissa, and Jack's Melissa is absolutely just a ray of sunshine to be around. She will brighten your spirit up. So she decides to go to her church, and I'm like, okay. So she goes once. She's like, it wasn't too bad. Why don't you go next time? I was like, I'll go with you just because it'll make you happy. And what I really thought was, I'll go with you so you don't nag me. So I go. And I didn't really care for the first time I went. She's like, why don't you go again? I was like, well, okay, fine. Second time, I started feeling something, and I didn't like it at all. It was very unnerving. It was unsettling. It was almost like, it was like when your dad's mad at you, and he's kind of saying, hey, you know, you need to apologize to me. And I mean, that's how I felt anyway that second time. The third time, that was total conviction. I was absolutely being drawn to go to that altar, and I was still fighting it, still white knuckling it. And the preacher, our pastor, Mr. Torbett, he did the call, and he extended the call, which sometimes that's needed, and he knew that. He said, if you need somebody to come up there, just reach out and grab your hand, and I was doing that. I didn't even know I was doing that. I was really reaching into just nothingness. There was nobody by me except for her, and I'm right-handed, so I'm not going to grab her by the left hand. I'm grabbing into nothing, and he saw that. And that he helped me. He came up to me, and he grabbed my hand, and he led me down there because I couldn't do it on my own. I was ashamed. I got saved that day in November. It was before Thanksgiving. And after that, things started going pretty good. And I thought, wow, this Jesus thing's really nice. This is, I feel inside, I feel alive. I've got friends now, and I do. I have some real genuine friends. I haven't had that in a long time. And I have a fellowship with brothers, and I'm learning, and it's taught me a lot of patience, and how to center myself, and be more uplifting for others. The more selfless I am, it seems like the more I gain, and I'm not even worried about the gains, because that don't matter to me. That's just blessings. But I guess it's like all Christians, we fall back a little bit. And I kind of got stagnant there for a minute, because it was like, yay, party with God. And then it was like, oh, that feeling went away. What now? I wasn't reading my Bible. I wasn't trying to get into the Word like I needed to. Everybody kept saying, there's going to be great things come out of you. There's going to be great things come out of, your family, and great things are going to happen. And I didn't know what they're talking about. I'm just content with just showing up. Well, I'll just say a month ago, I started getting real bad sick. And I had already been for surgery prior to that, and they said I was pre-stage cancer. And that scared me. But, it's pre-stage, so, yeah, we can beat it. I'm not worried about that. Well, that didn't put enough fear in me. So, I got real bad sick again. And this time it was totally different. Something I had never felt. And I was puking for a whole week. I couldn't hold food down, couldn't hold water down, I couldn't hold Gatorade or even a Pedialyte. Water felt like fire going down my throat. That's how bad I was puking. My lips had basically started peeling off because of all the acid. It was pretty bad. So a week of that goes, and my magnesium and potassium levels had just dropped to almost nothing. I start seizing up, or drawing up, as they say. I started getting really scared. I was blacking out. So she takes me to UT Hospital, and for a couple of days, they don't know what's going on. I was in there for a total of 4 days. So like about 2 days, they didn't know what was up. And then they found out that I had E. coli, a really bad strain of it, and I was dying. And the rest of the time, the medicine they gave me with the potassium and magnesium, even when they dilute it, it's like fire going in your veins. So the whole time, for like 2 weeks basically, I was living in hell in a sense. Because everything I did was fire. Everything burnt. And I couldn't get any sleep because they kept giving me shots in the stomach like every 2 to 3 hours. So that was pretty rough. And we got through it. But while I was there, I thought, I haven't done anything with my life. And I'm going to be 39 this year. Haven't done anything with my life other than destroy things. I've never built anything, worth having or worth showing. And I never had kindness back out in the world, I guess you'd say. True kindness. And I thought, like, well, what if I died? I would just leave my family with nothing but debt and sorrow, and all they would know me as is just a recovering addict. I really, really thought about that hard. And I decided, well, I want to change that. I want to do something about it. And then I got home. And, ate a little meal. Everything was good. Went to bed. So I might have slept 6 to 8 hours. I'm not really sure. I know I woke up a little bit before midnight, feeling like just as bad as I did in the hospital. It was just, I thought, oh Lord, they didn't get it. They didn't get it. It's come back. And it's going to kill me this time. And I broke down in tears. Genuine tears. And I said, I asked God, I was like, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of being sick. I'm tired of not being able to work. I'm tired of not being a man. I'm tired of no direction in my life. I don't know what I'm doing, and I need you to do something about it. So I need you to heal me, mind, body, and soul. And without a doubt, in my mind, and I'll go to my grave with this, I spoke to God, and He spoke back. A lot of times, the whole time, it's always been one-sided for me. A little, maybe, but it's not, I've never heard Him. We spoke for 2.5 days, non-stop. He gave me 15 minutes of sleep one day, and then another day He gave me two more hours, and we spoke until my body just couldn't do it anymore. And He called me to preach. He said, if you work for me, I will provide, and you will have the things that you desire within reason. And He's like, and it's a long conversation to put in one little bit, but in a nutshell, do my work and you will succeed. If you don't, you're going to fail. And I never looked at God like, I always saw God as this big man on a throne. He just oversees everything and has commandments and just do all I say. 2.5 days, I talked to a father. I talked to a dad. Like the coolest dad you could ever have. And I've never had a father. So that's what I've been needing my whole life. That connection, that real relationship with something beyond me. But these aren't sad tears, these are tears of joy, because I know where I'm going. I've seen it. I've had a little tiny glimpse of it.
That's all you need, because my mind was about to break. But I don't hear voices anymore other than when he wants to speak to me. I don't feel oppressed. I definitely don't feel like a drug addict anymore. And I have inner peace. I've never had inner peace. I've always had turmoil. And I don't know if anybody else is gonna, really get anything out of this, but I was a child of Satan, literally. And God still found a way to get me out. I just had to be, you just gotta be broken in order to really, you just gotta get humble for him to do anything for you. Just to be humble. Just, if you're looking for anything in this world, you're not gonna find it. You're not gonna find inner peace with yoga or crystals or herbs or spell casting or you're never going to make a fireball, I'll tell you that, okay? You're not Harry Potter. You're never going to do that. All it is just a way to keep your eyes here instead of up there where it needs to be. And I'm ever grateful. There's nothing I can do that's ever going to make up for it as far as like how grateful I am, because all my work here is just like, it ain't going to matter. But if this touches one person, just one person, that's all that matters to me. Just know that you have a Father that you can go to. He's real. Like, he is beyond our universe. He's a real being. He's a physical, real being. And yeah, you can look at us like we're chess pieces, or we're like on a Skyrim map, or whatever you want to break it down. But he created everything. You don't exist. If you don't exist, it's because God didn't want you to exist. If you exist, it's because you're meant to exist. If you hear this, you were meant to hear this. Absolutely meant to hear this. You have a purpose. You have a reason for being here. And it's not for the devil, Satan, Lucifer. And those aren't even his real name. You know that, right? When you say you're a Satanist or Luciferian or, any of that, that's not a name. That's a title. God stripped him of his name. I know his name. But I'm not going to tell you his name. Because to give him name is to give him power. If you want to break these curses that you feel are on your life, if you want to break the emptiness in your soul, get on your knees and ask God to save you from this wretched world, because we don't have much time, guys. We really don't. If you're watching this and you want to enter into a relationship with our Father, there are things that you have to do. First, you have to believe that Jesus existed from the beginning. He was born of a virgin birth. He lived on this earth a sinless life, perfectly sinless life. He had a ministry. He had nothing but love. And he was on this earth for 33 and a half years until we crucified him. And by crucify him, I mean we did a number on him. And we put him on a tree. We call it a cross. And he died for us, for our sins. He was sent here by his Father. His Father's God. When he died, that paid the way for us not to go to hell if we believe on him. We have to believe that he did all these things for us. And when he died, he was in the tomb for 3 days, but he wasn't dead. He was in hell getting the keys from death and bringing it back. He conquered death. 3 days later, he rose from the dead.
Buddha didn't do that. Krishna didn't do that. Muhammad didn't do that. Sorry, he didn't. I can go to his grave. I can go to Jesus' grave, and he's not there. He's not there. It was a borrowed tomb. Once you accept that that's what he did for you, and believe on him, and you accept him in your heart, you have to ask him, Jesus, please come into my heart. Save me. Save me, and I will follow you. You have to follow him, because that's the only way. You have to do you have to follow the teachings. That's part of it. But you're saved by grace. By the blood of Jesus Christ, you are saved from an eternal damnation. Hell's not meant for you. It was meant for the fallen angels. We choose to go there. I didn't get that. I never thought, well, I can just deny that. I don't even worry about it. We literally choose whether or not to go to heaven or hell. You have to make a choice. And you got to pick a side. You can't live in both worlds. You got to pick a side. So, what side you going to be on?